You're at a party. There are people everywhere, laughing, talking, having a good time, and you're standing right in the middle of it, but something feels off. You're physically there, but mentally you're somewhere else entirely. You're nodding, smiling, saying the right things, and feeling completely alone. And the worst part isn't the loneliness itself, it's the guilt that comes with it, because you're surrounded by people. You're supposed to feel fine, so why don't you? Most people assume loneliness is about being physically alone. No friends, no social life, empty weekends. But that's not actually how loneliness works. You can be alone and feel completely at peace. And you can be in a room full of people and feel like you're invisible. The difference has nothing to do with how many people are around you. It has everything to do with the quality of connection, or the absence of it. Psychologists draw a clear line between two very different experiences. There's social loneliness, the kind that comes from not having enough people in your life. And then there's emotional loneliness, the kind that comes from not feeling truly understood by anyone, even when people are everywhere. Most people who say, "I feel lonely, but I don't know why," aren't suffering from a lack of people. They're suffering from a lack of depth. Think about the last conversation you had. Really think about it. Was it real or was it performed? Because there's a version of socializing that looks exactly like connection, but feels like nothing. You talk about work, about the weekend, about what you watched on Netflix. You laugh at the right moments. You ask the right questions, and then you go home and feel emptier than before you left. That's not connection. That's two people exchanging words while both quietly waiting for something real to happen. And here's the thing. This kind of surface-level interaction is everywhere now. Social media made it worse. You can technically be in contact with hundreds of people every single day and never once have a conversation that actually matters. Every interaction is curated, filtered, optimized for approval. Nobody shows the hard parts. Nobody says, "I'm actually not okay." And so, everyone walks around performing their best version of themselves and feeling profoundly unseen while doing it. But there's another layer to this that goes even deeper. Some people don't just accidentally end up in shallow connections. They build them on purpose, without even realizing it. Because somewhere along the way, being truly known by someone started to feel dangerous. Maybe you opened up once and got hurt. Maybe vulnerability was never safe in your family growing up. Maybe you learned early that showing your real self leads to rejection, judgment, or abandonment. And so, you got very good at being likable without being known, at being present without being seen, at filling a room without letting anyone actually reach you. Psychologists call this emotional unavailability, and it's one of the most common and least talked about reasons people feel lonely in the middle of a crowd. You've built walls so smooth and so polished that people don't even realize they're walls. They think they know you, but they only know the version of you that you decided was safe to show. And this creates a painful paradox. The more you protect yourself from being hurt, the more isolated you become. The more isolated you become, the more convinced you are that nobody would understand you anyway. And the more convinced you are that nobody would understand you, the less you try. It becomes a self-fulfilling cycle that tightens slowly, quietly, over years. Until one day you look around at all the people in your life and realize that none of them really know who you are, and neither, maybe, do you. Because here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Long-term loneliness doesn't just make you sad, it changes you. Research shows that chronic loneliness activates the same threat detection systems in the brain as physical danger. Your nervous system starts treating other people as a potential source of pain rather than comfort. You become hypervigilant in social situations, scanning for rejection, reading into tone, bracing for disappointment, and the cruel irony is that this hypervigilance makes genuine connection even harder, because people can feel when someone is guarded, and guardedness pushes people away, which confirms the original fear, which increases the guardedness. Round and round it goes. So what actually breaks the cycle? It's not going to more parties. It's not downloading another app. It's something much simpler and much harder at the same time. It's letting one person, just one, see something real. Not your highlight reel. Not the version of you that has everything figured out. Something honest. Something unedited. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as small as saying, I've actually been struggling lately, instead of, I'm good. Or, staying in a conversation long enough for it to go somewhere real instead of keeping it safely on the surface. Connection isn't built in crowds. It's built in moments. Small, quiet, honest moments where two people drop the performance for just long enough to actually see each other. And the risk of that, the real risk of being seen and possibly rejected, is exactly what most lonely people are spending their entire lives trying to avoid. But avoiding that risk doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you alone. Feeling lonely in a crowd isn't a personality flaw. It isn't weakness. It's usually a sign that somewhere along the way, you learned that being truly known wasn't worth the risk. And unlearning that, slowly, carefully, one honest moment at a time, might be the most important work you ever do.